for all the things we've been hearing about Iran, there's another word. I mean, that word nuclear has been thrown around for something else, something that's been happening on Capitol Hill quite a bit. And there was a vote on Thursday in the Senate to eliminate the ability of the Senate minority to filibuster executive branch nominees in any judgeship below the Supreme Court by changing the requirements for passage to a simple majority vote. Now, I know a fair amount of things. I follow a fair amount of stuff. But I effectively have no real idea of what that means. All right.
Like any of it.
So, Elahe, please explain to me and to America why this is important, what this means, and we'll go from there.
All right. So in the Senate, when you want to confirm an executive nomination, so we're talking about people to fill posts in the administration and also people to serve on federal courts.
Right.
So one of the courts, there's a court that's just right below the Supreme Court. It's a district circuit court. And that's the one that kind of like spurred all this. So anyway, if you want to confirm one of the president's nominees, you need a filibuster-proof majority. You need 60 people to vote for this person to confirm. So what's been happening is that the Republicans have not been allowing some of the circuit court nominees to go through, not because they object to the actual people, but because they don't want President Obama to fill the courts with his picks. So
hating, as it's known.
Well, and to be fair, this is not something that only Republicans have done.
Right.
In 2005, we have a bit of a role reversal, and they managed to strike a deal to allow some of Bush's nominees to go through. And so this whole nuclear option thing, what that means is changing the rules. So you don't need 60 people, you just need 51. And when Democrats can count on 55 votes, they just need 51 to confirm someone. That means that President Obama gets to have his picks.
Gotcha.
So what happened was Reid basically was like, enough is enough. Harry Reid was like, enough is enough. We're going to change the rules. And that's why it's called the nuclear option.
Gotcha. Because it effectively blows everything up.
It blows it up.
We've got audio on that. The president talked about it, I believe, last week.
Vote today, I think, is an indication that a majority of senators believe, as I believe, that enough is enough. The American people's business is far too important to keep falling prey day after day to Washington politics. So
what he's saying there basically is, because you guys are not playing by the rules, or are playing by the rules, but in a way that is, in his opinion, sort of, specious logic, I'm changing the rules. I mean, is that effectively on some level how this is operating?
Yeah, and I mean, I think part of it, the fear is that now that the Democrats have done this, when and if the Republicans take the Senate and the White House, that they are then going to change the rules, not just for this, but also to include Supreme Court nominees. Because right now, this does not include Supreme Court nominees. So if Republicans are then in power, can they then confirm a nominee to the highest court of the land with just 51 people?
Gotcha. We also have Mitch McConnell had something to say about what Obama said.
It reminds them of all the broken promises. It reminds them of the power grab. It reminds them of the way Democrats set up one set of rules for themselves and another for everybody else.
Clearly, he's referring to the American people in terms of them there. But, what do you think about that?
Well, I will say that this is a pretty major shift in what it will do for the Obama administration and the White House. Because right now, Obama's having a really tough time having any of his agenda enacted through Congress. Because even though Democrats control the Senate, they have the filibuster, and then Republicans control the House. So what's Obama going to try and do is try and enact his agenda through regulation and regulatory reform. And so now he can get his team and the people he wants in those posts through this change. So you should expect to see some new regulations and things being enacted when it comes to the environment and other agencies. Do
you think that there are people that would have been nominated had these been the old rules? Are there nominations in past you think might have been different than say they are now?
Perhaps. I mean, the thing with the court is the nominees weren't really the problem. Now, Republicans, they took issue with another nominee, Mel Watt, who is a congressman and was nominated to head up the FHA. And the Republicans did take issue with him because they said this is a political nominee. Right. This isn't like a wonk. Right. So I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.